The Galactic Coalition Academy sat on Station Helix 9, a massive metal ring floating in the darkness between stars. Every year, thousands of young soldiers came here from 47 different species. They came to learn war. They came to become heroes. They came to prove that their kind was the strongest in the galaxy. Park was not like them. She was human, 23 years old, with black hair tied back in a simple knot. She was not tall. She was not strong. She did not speak loudly or boast about her. When other cadets walked through the halls with their chests out and their voices high, walked with her head down and her footsteps quiet. The other cadets called her the ghost. They did not mean it as a compliment. They meant that she was boring. They meant that she was forgettable. They meant that she was nothing. Was a species of tall reptiles with green scales and yellow eyes. He was the biggest cadet in the academy, and he made sure everyone knew it. His people had conquered 12 star systems before joining the coalition, and believed this made him better than everyone else. He especially believed he was better than humans. "Look at her," said to his friends one morning in the training hall. He pointed at who was sitting alone in the corner, reading something on her. "That is what Earth sends us. A small, weak, quiet girl. This is why humans will never matter in this galaxy." His friends laughed. A cadet with 4 arms clicked his teeth in amusement. A monk with pale skin and no hair simply smiled. They all agreed with, humans were new to the galaxy. Humans were soft. Humans were not worth their attention. Heard them, she always heard them, but she did not look up from her. She did not defend herself. She did not say a single word. She simply kept reading, and after a while the other cadets forgot she was there. This was exactly what she wanted. Instructor was an old soldier. He had fought in wars that ended before most cadets were born. His scales were dark gray from 100 battles, and his eyes were the color of dried blood. He had trained warriors for 200 years, and he was very good at seeing what they were made of. Park confused him. Her test scores were acceptable. Not excellent, not poor, just acceptable. She completed every exercise without complaint, but she never pushed herself to do more. She never competed with other cadets. She never asked questions in class. She simply did what was required and nothing else. One afternoon, called her to his office. "Cadet Park," he said, looking down at her from his great height. "You have been here for 6 months. Tell me one thing you have achieved." Stood at attention, her face showing nothing. "I completed the navigation course, sir." "Everyone completes the navigation course." "Yes, sir." Felt his tail twitch with frustration. "Do you not want to succeed, cadet? Do you not want to become a great warrior?" Was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I want to learn, sir, that is all." "Learn what? How to be average. How to be forgotten." Leaned closer, his face filling her vision. "I have seen many soldiers in my life, Cadet Park. The ones who hide their strength are usually hiding something else. What are you hiding?" For just a moment something moved behind his eyes. It was gone so fast that almost missed it. Almost. "Nothing, sir," she said. "I am just a cadet." Let her go, but he did not believe her. There was something wrong about this human. Something that did not fit. He made a note in her file to watch her more closely. That night sat alone in her quarters. The room was small and plain, with a single bed, a desk, and a viewport that looked out at the stars. She had no decorations on her walls. She had no photographs of family or friends. She had nothing that showed who she was or where she came from. She liked it that way. She looked at her hands. They were small hands, soft hands, the hands of someone who had never done hard work. That was what the other cadets thought when they looked at her. They saw weakness. They saw nothing worth fearing. They did not know what these hands had done. Closed her eyes and tried not to remember. But the memories came anyway, like they always did. She saw fire. She saw light so bright it burned through closed eyelids. She heard screaming, millions of voices crying out at once, and then silence. Perfect, terrible silence. She opened her eyes and looked at the stars outside her viewport. Somewhere out there, in the vast darkness of space, there were empty places where worlds used to be. Beautiful worlds with blue skies and green forests and cities full of people who had names and families and dreams. They were gone now, all of them gone because of her. Stood up and walked to the viewport. She pressed her hand against the cold glass and watched her breath make a small cloud of fog. "I am just a cadet," she whispered to herself. "I am just a cadet, I am just a cadet." She said it again and again, like a prayer, like a promise, like a lie she desperately wanted to believe. Tomorrow she would go to her classes. She would fail to impress anyone. She would let the others laugh at her. She would be the ghost, the boring human, the girl who would never matter. And maybe, if she tried hard enough, she could become that person for real. Maybe she could forget what she really was. Every 3 months the Academy held Assessment Day. It was a tradition as old as the Coalition itself. Every cadet had to stand on a scanner platform while machines measured everything about them. Height, weight, muscle strength, brain speed, and most important of all, the Combat Potential Index. The Combat Potential Index was a number, a simple number between 1 and 100 that told everyone exactly how dangerous you were. It looked at your species, your training, your medical records, and your military history. Then it calculated the maximum damage you could do in a fight. Most cadets scored between 20 and 40. Elite warriors sometimes reached 60 or 70. The highest score ever recorded at the Academy was 82, belonging to a general who had won 3 wars. Was certain he would break that record today. He stood at the front of the line, his green scales shining under the bright lights of the assessment hall. His friends stood behind him, talking loudly about their own expected scores. The hall was full of cadets from every species, all of them excited, all of them ready to prove themselves. Stood at the very back of the line. She had her arms crossed over her chest and her eyes fixed on the floor. She did not talk to anyone. No one talked to her. The scanner platform was a circle of metal in the center of the hall. Above it hung a massive display screen that showed results for everyone to see. When a cadet stepped onto the platform, blue light washed over them, and the machines did their work. One by one, the cadets took their turns. A cadet scored 34. His 4 arms were strong, but his combat experience was limited. A monk scored 41. Her mental discipline was impressive, but her physical strength was low. A young scored 53, and his friends cheered loudly. Then it was turn. He stepped onto the platform with a confident smile. The blue light surrounded him, and he stood tall, letting the machine see every part of him. The display screen flickered, numbers scrolling across it, and then his score appeared. 67. The hall erupted in cheers. 67 was an excellent score. Not the highest ever, but very close. Raised his arms in victory, his yellow eyes bright with pride. "Let the little human try to beat that," he laughed, looking back at. More cadets took their turns. Scores appeared and were forgotten. The line grew shorter and shorter until finally only was left. She walked to the platform slowly, her footsteps making no sound on the metal floor. The other cadets barely paid attention. They were still celebrating score, still talking about their own numbers. The ghost was about to be scanned, and nobody cared. Stepped onto the platform. The blue light washed over her. It moved across her face, her arms, her chest. It scanned her bones and her muscles and her brain. It searched for her medical records and her training scores. Then it found something else. The light changed from blue to yellow. The display screen flickered. A soft sound filled the hall like a bell ringing far away. Conversation stopped, heads turned, even fell silent. The light changed again, from yellow to orange, then from orange to red, a deep, pulsing red that made shadows dance on the walls. Bora, the technician running the machines, was with 4 arms and skin like polished wood. She had done 1,000 assessments. She had never seen anything like this. "What is happening?" Instructor demanded, pushing through the crowd of cadets. "I do not know, sir." Bora's 4 hands moved quickly across her controls. "The system is accessing restricted files, Coalition military archives, classification levels I have never seen before." The display screen went dark. For a long moment there was only silence and the pulsing red light. Then words appeared on the screen, white letters on a black background. Combat record DATCTD. Classification Stellar Black. ACCSSING Restricted Database. Please stand by. Laughed nervously. What is this? Did the machine break because she has no combat record at all? No one laughed with him. Stood perfectly still on the platform. Her face showed nothing. Her eyes were fixed on the screen, watching the words appear with the patience of someone who had been expecting this for a very long time. More words appeared. Subject Park YUNA. Species Human. HOMEWRLD, Earth. Military designation, Echo 7. Status active. Echo 7, said the words slowly, like they tasted strange in his mouth. I have heard that designation before. Where have I heard that designation? The screen flickered again. New words appeared. Warning. Following information is classified at the HIGHEST level. Unauthorized viewing is punishable by Military Tribunal. Override accepted. DISPLA YING Partial Combat Record. The cadets pressed closer, their earlier excitement replaced by confusion and fear. Something was very wrong. Something was very different about this quiet human girl who never spoke and never fought and never tried to be anything but invisible. Looked at the screen. She looked at the words that were about to change everything. And then very softly she sighed. Well, she said to no one in particular, it was nice while it lasted. The display screen expanded. Light poured out from it, filling the assessment hall with images and words that floated in the air like ghosts. A mechanical voice began to speak, reading from files that most people in the galaxy did not know existed. The first image showed a planet. It was beautiful, with green continents and blue oceans and white clouds swirling over its surface. Cities glittered on the night side like scattered diamonds. One of the monks whispered. The sister colony of Mai, it was destroyed 15 years ago. They told us it was a natural disaster, a star explosion. The mechanical voice continued. NERATHI4. DESIGNATD hostile after government forces DEPLOYED biological weapon against human colony ship. 12,000 human CIVILINS killed. Men, women, and children. Response authorized BY Earth Defense Council. Asset DPLOID, Echo 7. Mission duration, 14 hours. Outcome, complete planetary elimination. The image changed. The beautiful planet was gone. In its place was a field of broken rocks and dust, floating in the darkness where a world used to be. Nobody in the hall made a sound. The next image appeared. A moon orbiting a giant planet made of gas. The moon was called, and it had once been home to billions of insect-like creatures who shared one mind. THRAXIS. DESIGNATD hostile after hive consciousness CONSUMED 3 human research stations. 942 human SCINTISDS killed. BODIES used as food and building material. Response authorized BY Earth Defense Council. Asset DPLOID, Echo 7. Mission duration, 6 hours. Outcome, complete planetary elimination. Another image, another dead world, broken pieces of a moon scattered across space like a broken plate. The images kept coming, one after another, 7 worlds in total. A water planet called Deluge 3, home to creatures that lived beneath the waves. They had captured a human ship and drowned everyone on board, keeping them alive as long as possible to study how humans died. Gone. A fortress world called Iron Gate, controlled by a military government that had sold human prisoners as slaves to the highest bidder. Gone. A jungle planet whose name had been erased from all records. Its crime was also erased. Only the outcome remained. Gone. 7 planets, billions of lives, all of them ended by one human woman who now stood on a scanner platform in a training academy, surrounded by cadets who had laughed at her that very morning. The mechanical voice spoke again. Total confirmed kills, error. Measurement scale insufficient. Standard kill count not applicable. Recommended classification, not enemy elimination, planetary erasure. Scales had turned pale. His yellow eyes were wide and his mouth hung open. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Finally, Instructor found his voice. How? He asked. It was the only word he could manage. The display showed one more image. It was an official military photograph taken years ago. She looked younger in the picture, but her eyes were the same. Empty, tired, old in a way that had nothing to do with age. Echo 7 CAPBLITIS, classified. Echo 7 methods, classified. Echo 7 equipment, classified. Echo 7 current status, ON voluntary assignment. Coalition Academy Station Helix 9, Training Integration Program. Training Integration Program, repeated slowly. You requested this assignment. You asked to come here and pretend to be a normal cadet. Stepped off the scanner platform. The red light faded. The images disappeared. The mechanical voice went silent. Yes, she said simply, I did. The cadets stared at her. Some of them stepped backward without realizing they were doing it. Some of them could not move at all, frozen by what they had just learned. Finally found his voice. That cannot be true, he said, but his voice was shaking. One person cannot destroy a planet. That is not possible, not even for humans. Looked at him. For the first time since arriving at the academy, she met someone's eyes directly. You are right, she said. One person cannot destroy a planet, but I was never just one person. I was a response. I was a message. I was what humanity sends when they have run out of patience and mercy and hope that the galaxy will treat them fairly. She paused, and something terrible moved behind her eyes. I was an ending. The assessment hall was completely silent. Hundreds of cadets, soldiers in training from 47 different species, stood frozen before a small human woman with a soft voice and tired eyes. She walked toward the door. No one moved to stop her. No one moved at all. At the doorway, she stopped and looked back. I would like to return to my quarters now, she said to Instructor. Tomorrow I have a navigation test. I would like to study. Then she was gone, and the cadets were left standing in the hall, trying to understand how everything they thought they knew about humans had just been proven terribly, horribly wrong. That night sat in her quarters and watched the stars through the viewport. She had not turned on the lights. She did not need them. The darkness felt right. The darkness felt honest. She heard footsteps in the corridor outside, heavy footsteps, familiar footsteps. The door opened without a knock. Instructor stood in the entrance, his massive body blocking the light from the hallway. For a long moment he just looked at her, this small human sitting alone in the dark. Then he stepped inside and let the door close behind him. I read your complete file, he said. His voice was different now, softer, almost gentle, the parts that even the scanner could not access. I had to contact the Coalition High Command to get clearance. Did not turn around, then you know everything. I know enough. Moved closer, his clawed feet making soft sounds on the metal floor. I know you were recruited when you were 16 years old. I know they found something inside you, some ability that humans did not know they had. I know they trained you in secret for 3 years, and I know what happened when they finally let you off your leash." Was quiet for a while. Outside the viewport, a cargo ship drifted past, its lights twinkling like distant stars. "7 worlds," she said finally. 62 billion lives. That is what I did in 4 years. And do you know the worst part?" "What?" I did not feel anything. Her voice was flat, empty. When I destroyed 4, I did not feel sad. When I ended the hive mind, I did not feel guilty. I just did it. Like stepping on insects, like cleaning a dirty window. It was easy. It was so terribly, horribly easy. Had trained warriors for 200 years. He had seen soldiers broken by battle, driven mad by violence, turned into monsters by the things they had done. But he had never heard anything like this. He had never felt fear like this. "So why did you stop?" he asked. Finally turned to face him. In the dim light from the viewport, her eyes looked like deep holes, like windows into something vast and dark and endless. "I stopped because I started to feel nothing about everything," she said. "Not just about killing, about all of it. Food had no taste, music had no beauty, people had no meaning. I was becoming empty inside, instructor. I was becoming something that was not human anymore." She stood up and walked to the viewport, pressing her palm against the cold glass. "I asked the Earth Defense Council to let me go. I told them I needed to remember what it felt like to be a person. They did not want to release me. I am too valuable, too powerful, too useful." She laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "But they were also afraid of what I might become if I kept going, so they made a deal with me. I would come here to this academy and learn how to be normal again, how to be small, how to be weak, how to be human." Understood now, he understood everything. "That is why you hide," he said. "That is why you pretend to be nothing. You are trying to forget what you are." "I am trying to become what I pretend to be." Turned back to face him. "Do you think that is possible, instructor? Do you think someone who has destroyed 7 worlds can ever be just a cadet again? Can ever be just a person?" Did not know what to say. In all his years, in all his battles, he had never faced a question like this. "I think," he said slowly, choosing his words carefully, "that you are already more human than you believe. A true monster would not care about becoming something else. A true monster would not be afraid of what they might do next." Stared at him for a long moment. Then something changed in her face. Something softened just a little, like ice beginning to melt. "The cadets will treat me differently now," she said. "Yes, they will. Some will fear me, some will hate me, some will try to challenge me to prove they are stronger. Yes, all of that will happen." Nodded slowly. "And some will ask me to teach them. They will want to know how I did it. They will want to learn how to become like me." Felt a chill run down his spine. "And what will you tell them?" Walked past him toward the door. She paused with her hand on the control panel, her back to him. "I will tell them the truth," she said. "I will tell them that power like mine is not a gift. It is a curse. It is a weight that crushes you slowly day by day until there is nothing left of the person you used to be." She opened the door and stepped into the hallway. "I will tell them to stay weak, stay small, stay human, because once you become what I became, you can never go back." She walked away down the corridor, her footsteps silent, her shadow stretching long behind her. Stood in her empty quarters for a long time, staring at the stars through the viewport. He had trained the greatest warriors in the galaxy. He had created soldiers who won wars and conquered worlds. But tonight, for the first time in 200 years, he wondered if the galaxy would have been better off if he had never trained anyone at all. 3 months passed, and the academy was different. Nobody called the ghost anymore. Nobody laughed at humans in the training halls. When she walked through the corridors, cadets from every species stepped aside to let her pass. They did not run. They did not scream. They simply moved quietly and quickly like small animals avoiding a larger predator. Pretended not to notice. She went to her classes. She completed her exercises. She studied for her tests and ate her meals alone in the corner of the dining hall. Nothing had changed about her behavior. Everything had changed about how others saw her. The news had spread across the galaxy within days of the assessment. The human destroyer, the planet killer, Echo 7. Every species had their own stories, their own theories, their own fears. Some said she could burn worlds with her mind. Some said she controlled weapons that could crack moons in half. Some said she was not even human anymore, just something wearing human skin. Heard all the rumors. She said nothing about any of them. One evening, she was sitting alone on the observation deck, watching civilian ships drift past the station. The deck was empty except for her. Cadets avoided this place now, knowing she liked to come here. But tonight, someone found the courage to join her. Walked across the deck slowly, his clawed feet clicking on the metal floor. His green scales had lost some of their shine over the past 3 months. He looked older somehow, smaller. "May I sit?" he asked. Nodded without looking at him. He sat down on the bench beside her, keeping a careful distance between them. For a long time, neither of them spoke. They just watched the ships and the stars and the endless darkness of space. "I want to apologize," finally said, "for what I said about you before, for what I said about humans." "You do not need to apologize," said. "You spoke what you believed was true." "But I was wrong." His voice was heavy with shame. "I thought humans were weak because you are small and soft and quiet. I did not understand that your kind chooses to be this way." Turned to look at him. "What do you mean?" "The other at the academy, the ones who are older and wiser than me, they explained it." Took a deep breath. "They said that humans are like water, soft and gentle most of the time, easy to push aside, easy to ignore. But when you push too hard, when you force the water into a corner with no escape, it becomes something else. It becomes a flood, a storm, a force that breaks mountains and drowns cities." He looked at her with his yellow eyes, and for the first time saw real understanding in them. "You are gentle because you choose to be," he said, "not because you have to be." Was quiet for a moment, then she nodded slowly. "Yes," she said, "that is exactly right." Leaned forward, his claws gripping his knees. "But I still do not understand something. With your power, you could rule the galaxy. You could make every species bow to humanity. Why do you not do this? Why do you hide in an academy, pretending to be a normal cadet?" Stood up and walked to the viewport. She pressed her hand against the glass, looking at the civilian ships passing by. Somewhere on those ships, families were eating dinner together. Children were playing games. Couples were watching the stars and dreaming about the future. "I destroyed 7 worlds," she said. 62 billion lives ended because my species decided they were threats." She did not turn around. "Do you know what that number means? Can you even imagine it? 62 billion mothers and fathers and children. 62 billion people who had names and dreams and people who loved them. All of them gone because I was sent to make them gone." Said nothing. There was nothing to say. "I came here to remember something important," continued. "I came here to remind myself that the galaxy is full of people, not problems. Every planet has homes on it. Every species has families. Every life has meaning." She finally turned to face him. "Because the moment I forget that, the moment it becomes easy again to see worlds as just targets, that is the moment I become something the galaxy should actually fear." She walked toward the door, but stopped before leaving. "Tell the other cadets something for me," she said. "What?" His voice was soft, almost kind. "Humanity does not want war. We never did. We left our hopping to find friends among the stars. We wanted to learn and explore and share the universe with others." She paused, and her eyes grew distant. "But every time we reached out in friendship, someone hurt us. Someone attacked us. Someone decided that because we were soft and small and gentle, we were easy prey." She looked at one last time. "We are not prey," she said. "We have never been prey. We are simply very, very patient. And we are very, very good at war when we have no other choice. So please, for your sake and for ours, always give us another choice. Always give us a reason to stay gentle, because the alternative—" She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Walked away down the corridor, disappearing into the shadows like she always did. But this time did not see a ghost. He did not see a boring, forgettable girl. He saw something ancient and terrible and sad. Something that had the power to end civilizations, but chose instead to study navigation and eat alone in corners and pretend to be nothing special. He understood now why the galaxy had learned to speak softly around humans. Not because they were monsters, but because they tried so hard not to be. And that, realized, was the most frightening thing of all.